circles for you. I've been running in circles. I've been running in circles for you. I've been running in circles. I've been running in circles for you. I've been running in circles. I've been running in circles for you. When a square meets a circle, I've been trying to make it all fit for you. I ain't really trying to hurt you, but the walls got a break and the rules. I've been running in circles. I've been really trying to hurt myself for you. What am I gonna do? Lying next to you. Oh, feel invincible. Oh, crush, get up and run back to you. I feel I've been running in circles, and I'm running in circles.
Drop, top and rain. This night feel insane. I'm out dodging raindrops on road in this range. Double cup this pain. I'm fucked up, I can't aim. Triple cups of anger. I can't hold this thing. Still pop the pain. This purple rain. Do this again. Yeah, tough sky. You get chills, that's alright. You stay down, down the line.
right, guys, what is going on? Actually, let me turn this down. Test. Let me turn this down just a little bit. But you guys should still be able to hear me. All right, we should be good now. Welcome everyone to Market Maker Monday. It is March 31st, baby, the last day of the month. You guys ready? Drop a like on the stream. It would be greatly appreciated. Did you guys have a good weekend? Or what? Did you guys have a good weekend or not? What did you do? I read, let me see. I read and took, like, highlighted and took notes on about half of the Disciplined Trader. About half of it. You might not be able to see where my, what is this called? It's actually my insurance card I used as a as a bookmark. But about halfway, again, reading, rereading, highlighting, and taking notes. New high of day. On The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. What did you guys do? Excited for the new quarter? I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Well, I'll have to look at your Instagram after the stream is over. I don't know, man. I'm more excited for you guys than I am for me. I mean, I slept in today, you know, I missed out, and a lot of you guys killed it this morning. So I'm more excited about you guys learning and growing and taking good trades, passing combines, getting funded. I'm more excited about that than probably anything else. You know, I already bought the car of my dreams this quarter, so you know, I'm pretty good, man. Like, I'm good. I'm not excited for me, I'm excited for you. Know what I'm saying? So what's good? Robert, Mason, Naruto, Marshall, Remy, Max, Shay, Willow, Harmon, 2020, Eminem, Zachjo, Jordan, D, Hotshot, Brian. Weather was immaculate. Dude, the weather's been a bitch for me, man. Like, the pollen made the car yellow. It's disgusting. Couldn't even see, bro. I could not even see out the car. I'm like whipping it and I can't see shit. Was good, Chloe. I couldn't even figure out how to turn the damn wipers on either. I'm like, how do I do this? You know? Had to figure it out. Was good. Lee Bright just took a long. Lee Bright, you're long at the high of day, huh? That's fucking wild. That is wild. You probably see something that I do not, because this, to me, is done for me. And again, I want to get into that. You know, I always like to do the intro and stuff first before we get to the details and whatnot. Actually, we need to do the lines instead. We'll do it like that. And I'm guessing it probably because it has to do something with this gap. I could be wrong. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not interested in long in here personally. Just personally. Oh, appreciate that. Spazzing on one of the beats you played during the stream. Marshall's reading Trading in the Zone. Well, that one is right after. You know what I mean? It's right after the Disciplined Trader. But if I can continue on with the idea that I talked about from Friday, where I'm pretty sure I told you this. I said, it's the same book, but it felt different. Didn't I tell you that? I was like, it feels like a brand new book, but it's not. It's the same book that I read like 3, 4, 5 years ago. And it's not that it's a different book. The words, the paper, that did not change, but what did change is me. And I feel like there was such a long time between the last time I read The Disciplined Trader and this weekend, right? And so a whole lot more ideas jumped out at me. And another thing too is I could see the stuff that I highlighted back then, and I have way more highlights now. So I'm a different reader, I'm a different trader, I'm a different person, you know, than I was from 4 or 5 years ago. And that was an interesting, I'm only halfway done, I got the second half to go, but that was interesting to see like where my mind was at that long ago and seeing what I was highlighting and what I didn't highlight. And I highlighted way more this time around than I did back then. And I feel like I overlooked a few different things. I feel like we all do that. I think it's the same thing with anything that we read, meditations, the Bible, or whatever. Like if you have like a religious text that you read, you know, that can be, it seems different between when you read it 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and then you read it today. You're like, oh, why didn't I see this the first time? You saw it, but you didn't really like take in what it was. It's the same stuff, but a different meaning now. There's more depth now, if that makes sense. So I don't know where I was going with that whole point, but that's just where I'm at. You know, it's like a different book, and I love it. You know, that's why I got halfway through it in 2 days, you know, while doing other shit. Was good. Akinola, Gessner, Chloe, Nasdaq 100 played well after the open. Yeah, we're going to talk about it in a minute. This gap should stop the market, in my opinion, but market crossed it and keeps going higher. Just a small risk to see what's going to happen. I mean, I could see it going higher, but personally, I don't feel comfortable longing above highs, longing above a gap that we've already, you know, traded back into and above it. So I'm over it today. Obviously, like, I slept in. I really shouldn't have. I mean, how the fuck am I supposed to know that equal highs are going to be presented in London? You know, if I'm going to bed like at midnight, maybe like 1 a.m., you know, it's like, okay, well, the equal highs hasn't formed yet, so how do I know it's going to be there? You know what I mean? But I should have woken up, because this was absolutely beautiful. This was disgusting. I mean, a lot of you guys just killed it in here. Some of you traded Nasdaq, some of you traded ES. Either way, if you were long from roughly our open today, I mean, you smacked it. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of one of the points that I wanted to go over today. Right, Stephanie, reading with a new perspective. Same book, new perspective. That's what makes it interesting. Just like market maker models, just like concepts. You know, the first time you got introduced to a concept, you were probably like, okay, that's cool, whatever. But then you spent time with it. Or maybe you didn't like it at first, but then you came back and now you like it. Like, you probably thought the first time you knew about a mitigation, for example, you were probably floored by the way that it was explained to you. Like, oh, smart money's in drawdown. Now they get to mitigate, you know, those positions and then, you know, flip their bias or whatever. And you were probably like, okay, well, that's a great idea, but, you know, I don't really trust it yet. But now some of you probably really trust the mitigation, and you're like, oh man, now that I've spent time with it, now I love it. You know, it's the same thing with concepts. It's the same thing with ideas, just like philosophies, Stoic philosophy specifically. You know, these are ideas that really take time that you have to sit with, that you have to experience to really understand the depth of it and to apply it into your life. And that's when you go, oh yeah. Yeah, John's been talking about meditations for like 3 or 4 years now, and I finally get it. Hopefully you finally get it, you know? That's the idea, at least. May not always happen that way, but that's the idea. How do I adjust the price scale on TradingView so that it only shows whole numbers and quarter increments? 25, 50, 75. I've looked through the settings, but didn't see an option for it, says Mitch. Are you talking about the fib? Or are you talking about like the actual axis of TradingView? I'm not sure what we're talking about here, because I feel like 25, 50, and 75 is the fib. Or are you talking about the TradingView price? I reckon it'll close higher, leaving that monthly wick printed. Yeah, that could be the case, today being the last day of the month. On the y-axis TradingView price? Oh, well, shit. That I actually do not know. I've never messed with that. I will tell you this. Some of you keep posting charts with the blue screen. And you're like, how do I get the blue on the back of it? You have to go to a futures chart. You have to go to a time frame less than the daily. And that is right here, the electronic trading hours background. That'll be blue automatically. And usually it's like 20% or some shit. And that's what your chart looks like. And you go, oh, what the fuck? You got to change that opacity to 0. And that's how you get your charts cleaned up like that. Okay. Now, as far as what you're talking about, brother, I have no idea. I don't think in the 6 or 7 years that I've been teaching, I don't think anyone has ever asked me that. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. I really don't. Yeah. Finally, a question I couldn't answer. Oh, sorry. Couldn't help. Another break even for me. I was right. I mean, it's not always about being right, which is another point I wanted to make too. It's not about being right. It's about making money. But it's just, you know, sometimes we put on risk. Sometimes we don't. It's okay to take on risk, but it's just not something that I personally like doing. If I'm near the high of the day, I'm not longing. Like, I'm just not doing it. You know, I'm not doing it. But anyway, let me say a few things before we continue on to this magnificent market maker model that presented itself today. And then I'll do a couple I told you so from Friday. Right? Do you guys remember what we did on Friday? Do you remember the model that I taught you that transcends concepts and even time? I taught you how to trade without time or concepts. Something no MLM educator has ever done besides me. I know I keep pulling out rabbits out my fucking sleeve. How does he keep doing it? Some John Fib, baby. What are you talking about? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not really. But I taught you how to trade without concepts or time. It's based on this. It's based on the market maker buy model or sell model. And what is it based on? The logic, right? Do you remember that trade I recorded for you? The Nasdaq trade? What was I doing there? What was I doing in that trade? Do you remember? The second entry was what? Longing at 50%, aiming for the equal highs, right? There's your 1 to 2. Entry at 50%, stop at 25%, aiming for equal highs, 1 to 2. It's good for me. It's good for you, baby. Come on, dog. I taught you how to be the fucking laziest trader possible. No time, no price, just logic. Again, you tell me, baby, who taught you that besides me? Fucking nobody. Fucking nobody, bro. It's okay. It's okay. One day I'll teach you how to trade without opening your laptop. That's a little much, but you know, we'll see. Courtney said, that's crazy. I saw the setup using the fib model. Yeah, it's the lazy model, the lazy traders model. And you still have updated laws for us. Damn it, Jordan, you're not supposed to remind everybody. No, I'm behind on that a little bit. A little bit. I noticed that in your videos that when you hover over the price, it moves in 25% increments or minus, shows the exact price instead. If you're talking about ES, it only moves in quarters. 80, 80.25, 8.5 or 80.5, 80.75, and then 81. There's 4 ticks to a point for ES. If you're looking at anything different, you're not looking at ES. And that's not quarters theory. Quarters theory is like a little bit different. In this case, it would be probably like 5,500. Like that would be a really big deal for quarters theory. But if you're talking about what I do, that's different. That's like 55.50, 55.80, 56.20, because those are, this would be a 50 level technically, but that would either be a 0 or a 5 level, and then like 80 would be an 80 level, obviously 20 would be a 20 level. So that's like, you know, similar but different. Don't let the ICT community see it, please. They will call it the crystal ball fib ICT. Yeah, and they'll sell a course on it too. But that's okay. I'm usually about a year to 2 years ahead of that whole community. So fear not, Libright, fear not. I was actually about 6 years ago, I asked TradingView to put the halfway point on the box, and they never wanted to do it. That only came out a couple years ago. But that's okay. I've been ahead of the curve for a long fucking time. Okay, there's a reason I have a Corvette at 31 and most 31-year-olds don't. Okay, again, sorry, no ego, just I've been ahead of the curve for a long ass time. Probably won't stop. It's all good, baby. It's all good. We're not here to hate. We're here to appreciate. Know what I mean? Okay, let me get back to what I was trying to do. You guys keep distracting me from what I'm trying to do here. The disciplined trader, okay? What are some questions? What are some questions that you guys have related to trading psychology? Because a lot of the psychological problems that plague beginner and intermediate traders can be answered with basically time, price, and context. Now you have to have the right plan, right? Which I would say is leaning more towards a framework, right? Finding the liquidity, trading in that direction. Taking partials, right? And even like final TPs. So while you guys are answering that question, Matter of fact, I'll even do this because I'm feeling mad generous today. Subscriber. I'll turn on subscriber only mode. So even those of you that don't have a membership can contribute today. What questions do you guys have that are related to psychology? I mean, what do you want to know? Are you trying to understand fear? Are you trying to understand why you're hesitating to enter? Are you trying to understand fear of taking a loss? Are you trying to understand fear of blowing an account or losing a combine account or a funded challenge? Are you trying to understand why you're impatient? I'm impatient too. Been doing this shit 11 years. I'm still impatient. I mean, I'm a lot more patient than I used to be, but there's still signatures of impatience, sure. So what are some of the things that you guys are struggling to get past? I may not have every answer, but I'll at least do my best. They don't know about sniper entries, or they would have put the half line in the box. Yeah, Lewis. They told me that there wasn't enough interest in that for the, I guess, the programmers to do it. And then like 3 or 4 years later, they finally did it. I've always been years ahead of everybody. Well, not everybody, but most people. It's okay. It's all good. We're not here for that. All right. How to accept the outcome when our analysis is good, but your executions make you dirty? First question. Well, first of all, we have to understand what dirty means, because dirty to me is actually clean. Right? Like this imbalance down here, this inversion down here was fucking dirty. You know what I mean? Like that was, obviously this was all hindsight because I was not up for this. I told you that. But like that to me, that's dirty. That's dirty. That's disgusting. You know, I wish I could have that every time. Every time. I wish I could have that. But, and this is where we are now. So, which is great. But let's see. So how to accept the outcome when our analysis is good, but your executions. So the very first thing, Libra, that comes to my mind when you say accepting the outcome when our analysis is good, but the entries might be, I guess, good or bad, either way. The problem is, okay, accepting the outcome. One of the struggles that we have is that because as a trader, okay, as a trader who looks to trade like smart money, and you've seen trades that I've taken, right? And you go, holy shit, how the fuck is that even possible? Right? And again, no ego here. There's no ego here. But sometimes you see shit like this, right? I can't even fit it all on one chart. Sometimes you see shit like this and you're like, how the fuck? How? Right? I mean, like, brother, look at that. It was a comment. I was replying to Blank or Blanco. I'm not sure what to expect here, but for the time being, I'll scoop some physical coins. I'm buying silver here. That was October 2nd of 2023. And that was at 21, a little over 21. Bro, we're at 34. You know what I mean? We start to see the precision in the like sniper community, right? We start to see precision and we start to go, well, damn, I need that. And I need that on every trade. That is not the case for every trade. So, Toby, I didn't even mean to skip right over you because you were the first one to answer, said fear missing out. Sorry about that. I'll come back. But how to accept the outcome. The very first thing that comes to my mind is the series of trades perspective. The series of trades perspective, right? If you go on the Top Step X platform, if you guys use that, there's an analytical tab, and or maybe you've seen people on Twitter or social media post their calendar, and that calendar has like days they traded would be green or red, and days they didn't trade, there wouldn't be anything there. And it's almost like a checkerboard, and you can see their wins and losses. And then it has like the weekly, you know, how much they made or lost on that week. And so you can tell, no matter who posts it, there's almost always going to be losses in there. And so we have to understand we can focus on the process, but we have no control over the outcome. So although we desire an outcome of a winning trade, it's just simply unrealistic to expect 100% win rate. Now, I think I mentioned this last week. Yes, I've had periods where I was 60% right. I've had periods where I was 80, 85% right. You know what I mean? But guess what? Even at 85%, which is disgusting, it still isn't perfect. You know? So it's almost like we have to expect eventually that we're going to lose. Think about, it was either last week or the week before. You remember I told you another one. I was like, I literally cannot be wrong. Let me throw in a loser. I told you Dow new high of day, knowing damn well it wasn't going to do that. Right? I tossed in that loss because it's like it's a humbleness thing too. It's like you're not always going to be right. You might be on a roll. You might be 6, 7, 8 trades, just banger, 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 banger. You know what I mean? But winning streaks, that's when you have to stop and be careful, because eventually you will come across that loss. And if you start to increase your risk because you're on a roll, that's when eventually you get humbled. So accepting an outcome is hard because we want, it's basically us wanting an outcome that we don't control. You know, we can do all the analysis we want. We can enter trades, have our stop, have our risk, all that stuff. We can focus entirely on the process, which is what you should be focused on. And the outcome will take care of itself. So I would say, Libra, instead of focusing on the outcome of an individual trade, it should more like we should focus on the outcome of the next 20 trades. Because if we do everything right in 20 trades, anywhere from 1 to, let's say, 8, anywhere from 1 to 8 out of those 20 trades might be a loser. But if we have good risk to reward, if we have a decent win ratio, if we're taking profits on the way, if we're taking partials along the way, growing that account, then after 20 trades, mathematically, we should still be in the green. And that's the outcome that we're looking for. We're not looking for winning every trade. We're looking at winning the month. Or we're looking at, if that's not broad enough for you, then focus on what today is. What's today? The last day of the quarter. So now we're focused on winning the quarter. So who cares about losing a trade on a Monday when we have, 90 days of data to help back, damn it, Willow. I see you, chat. So that's kind of my solution. I mean, what do you think, Libra? Do you think I'm onto something here? Or did I completely miss the point? You just have to give yourself the grace to lose trades. I have to give myself, permission to lose. You know what I mean? And that translates to anything else. You look at NFL, NBA players. Do they miss? Or they don't miss, but do they? Even Steph Curry, does he hit every three? No. He'll probably hit most of them, but he still misses some. And if he can miss a few 3-pointers or a couple of free throws here and there and still be one of the greatest shooters of all time, if not the greatest shooter of all time, then who's to say we can't lose trades too? You know what I mean? Curry's below 50%, around 43%. Right, that's my point. If he has a 43% win rate, but he's like the greatest, why do you need anything higher? Now, ideally, win rate is different, but for traders at least, I mean, if you're winning 43% of the time, that's low in my opinion. But again, the math is the math. So just like Marcus Aurelius, right? We have to zoom out. We have to take the bird's eye view. Stop focusing on 1 or 2 trades and start saying, you know what? This was a hiccup. I got it wrong. Maybe I missed something, you know, maybe it was manual manipulation. I can't tell you when or where that's going to occur because nobody knows that. If there's an entity that's manually manipulating price, they're not going to text you and call you before they're going to do it. You know what I mean? So there's always that room for error. So that's probably my best answer that I can think of for that. Toby, so fear of missing out's relatively easy, and I did do a video on this already. Let's actually spend a couple minutes on the charts at least, so that way we can kind of answer this in a relatively easy fashion. Our opening of the week, right? So here was Friday's close, 5602.5, and our Sunday open was 5 p.m., right? At 55.90. Now, mind you, we did have a like spike, if you will. We did have a quick rally up to 5,600. Okay. And then like another retracement to like 55.96 before we continued lower. So the range, if you will, of lacking buy side and sell side price delivery is 56 even, right? 5,600 even to 5602.5. So these price levels, 60 and a quarter, 60 and a half, 60, 75, so on and so forth. Those are the levels that lack, again, both buy side and sell side price delivery. Okay. At this particular moment. Now, once we traded through it on the upside and downside, like to me, that's more, you know, it's not entirely balanced, but at least now we have buy side and sell side price delivery. So if we are lower, okay, and I want to say we took like a major low as well. I need to zoom out for just a second. Just take a look. All right. March 13th. That low here. Which was a 26-point run, by the way. Did you notice that? Did you guys notice that? What did I tell you about measured moves? 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, right? Well, anyway, that's 26, okay? So that means 25 would be 1 point above that at 34.75. There's your 25-point run. Yeah. Look at that shit. All right. Anyway, so fear of missing out. If we have an upside target, right? And we also have a beautiful market maker buy model, because again, London consolidation, low resistance highs. How far can price go above highs, a gap, or an imbalance? Right? You guys know all this already. This is not new to you. So how can you miss out? Well, you can't. The market damn near never, 99.9% of the time, it's going to offer you an entry. This is what a lot of traders don't understand on Twitter. Okay. What I mean is, we got a 25-point run. That's an opportunity. Imbalance. This right here is my inversion model. Okay. The last imbalance in a price manipulation, basically. It's not a run on liquidity. This is a sweep on liquidity, but whatever. Last imbalance to a sweep on liquidity. There's your inversion 1 to 2 model. You didn't have to trade either one of these. Okay. You could say, all right, 50% is here. So once we crossed 50%, okay, now we have what? We have an imbalance right here. That could be an opportunity. We do have a reaccumulation here, which we actually don't trade into. So I won't tell you that was. We probably would have to zoom out for that, honestly. And this is our low, high, lower low that took out the low of the 13th. So that would make that a potential reaccumulation, at least on a 5-minute. So it rips through that here. It does. But remember, we had already crossed 50% on this run. So if we're going to long, it would be on the way down, not on the way up. And we would ideally want to long in a discount or close to it. And so then we trade through it here. That's when it becomes responsive to trade higher. And I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people. That right there will not make sense to people. Well, hold on, John. What the fuck? You're telling me a concept can be disrespected and then respected later? Yeah. Yeah. Now, me personally, I don't like that. But I don't make the rules. I don't make, any of the rules of price delivery. I just do my best to follow the rules that's already been set. Anyway, my point is opportunity here, opportunity down here, an opportunity of longing at 50%, like I showed you with an example in a video last week, right? And using that same model to teach you on Friday at 50%. So we'll go ahead and include that too, that's another entry. Then we have a rally above 75. We go back into this, now becomes, it's the discount end of the premium. We have an imbalance right here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. This imbalance makes 4. These down candles make 5 to go higher. So there was at least 5 at a minute. There's probably more. Honestly, I could give you more than 5. But at least on a 1 minute / 5 minute time frame, not including any time-based concepts, by the way. Just price action alone, there was 5 entries that you could have taken, all to go higher. So there should be no FOMO if you understand this. Which is why I gave you the framework, which is why I did a whole 1-hour presentation on market maker models, the masterclass. Because market maker models are a means of trade management, trade entries, bias, all that shit. Does that make sense? So Toby, that should cure fear of missing out when you understand the level of abundance in the marketplace. It would also help to practice gratitude on your own as well. Okay. I feel like a lot of the time I spend hours and hours on learning in one day because I want to learn everything before actually going live. You have to give yourself time. Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm in year 11. Okay. 11 years. Right. I mean, like, no offense, but if you're not even 11 months in, you're a baby. And that's okay. I'm not saying that to you as a bad thing. I'm a baby in a lot of things too. You know, you asked me about aerodynamics, you asked me about quantum mechanics. I'm gonna tell you, bro, I don't know shit. I'm ignorant in a lot of things. I'm a baby in a lot of things. So it's not bad. It's just you're young. You're a young trader, and that's okay. You have to give yourself time and experience. I have a big problem with my entries. Don't know what to do. I can't recognize the problem. Well, fuck. I don't know what to tell you there. That might require a little bit more context or a little bit more details. Edmundo said, transforming limiting beliefs that have nothing to do with the charts, but with self-esteem. I think I am in that stage of my trading. Yeah, so that's definitely a long conversation. Self-limiting beliefs, that it's basically self-sabotage. You're sabotaging yourself. Your mind is literally working against you. Now, I think each person is different, just like every trade and every journey is different. So what you struggle with as an individual, that I might not be able to answer for you. But if it was me, if I was struggling with self-limiting beliefs, I would just write a list. Okay? You could do this if you want. Take a sheet of paper and just write down everything that you have done and everything that you've gone through. So everything you've accomplished. Passing a combine, getting a payout, having a winning month, having a winning year, maybe getting a nice job, maybe having a child or getting married or whatever success is to you. Okay? And just spend a couple days on that, just writing out everything that you can about what you've done and the struggles that you've overcame too. And this is why I do shit. I just do mine kind of publicly. This is why I go on rants on Instagram, like I did last night, you know, because sometimes when I do this exercise, I don't do it voluntarily. I do it involuntarily. So I think about, you know, all the racist people that I met, all the sexist people that I met, you know, all those exes like I make fun of all the time, right? And it's like, although for us it is a running joke, you know, like, oh, this is a shallow price run, you know, shallow like my exes, right? That is a joke. It's a running joke that we've had for I don't know how fucking long now. You know, it's kind of lame. But even though we laugh about it, that was like a painful experience, or that was many painful experiences for me when I was younger, you know? And that was just another thing that I had to get past. I had to overcome that, you know? So again, self-limiting beliefs, that's on you, you know? You're doing that to yourself. So again, make a list, write down everything that you had to overcome, and write down your accomplishments, you know, and realize like you can do it. Like you've done it, you know? Why do you think I show you the tweets at me tweeting at the low of the day or at the high of the day or some shit? Why do you think I do this? Oh, I deleted the one on Dow. Oh, that's fucked. But I'm gonna slap it back on here. Why do you think I show you this stuff? What the fuck? That was a lag if I've ever seen one. Okay, the tweet's still there. That was weird. Did I do something wrong there? Or is my computer just wilding out? Okay, whatever. Let me get back to the point. You know, when I'm able to trade this way and to tweet like that, bro, like nobody else, quite literally to the very minute, bro, look what I can do. Right? And it's to say, well, damn, you know, if you can do this, what are you scared to trade for? What are you scared to put on risk for? It's like when I'm looking at myself, it's like, John, you do shit that literally no one else has ever done. You know what I mean? So it's like, why is there any self-limiting beliefs? You've done it. You're doing it. You know? But that's where I would start. That's a good starting point, I would say. So so Lance from S&B Capital said that most psychology problems in trading are from not trusting your edge. I mean, yes and no. You can trust an edge, but not take a trade. Like you could see clearly, okay, we've got equal highs, we've crossed 50%, we're back below 50%, but man, you know, that's a wide stop loss. I don't want to take it. I don't know how to water down my stop loss because I don't backtest like John tells me to do. And, you know, I'm just a lazy sack of shit. So, you know, fuck it. I'm not going to trade it. And then boom, it goes higher. You knew it was going to go higher. You trusted the edge. You might have even texted your friend about it, but yet you still didn't take it. There can still be psychology problems that stem from other things. Like the example I just gave you, you might be scared to take a loss because you're coming off of a losing streak. Even though, this is one thing I learned from Mark Douglas, and I said this earlier, you might have missed it. I told you that every trade, every journey, and every day basically is unique, right? Because every moment is the present. When we started the stream 45 minutes ago, that was the past, right? Me closing the stream, I'm not closing the stream yet. That's in the future. All we have is the present right now. And every time a new candlestick prints is a new opportunity. It's a new opportunity. Every time the hour changes or doesn't change, that's an opportunity. Macros, right? So anybody can learn how to spot opportunities. I mean, like even myself, I tell you guys all the time, oh, watch for this, watch for that, but I don't always trade it, right? Most of us are better analysts than we are traders. Analysis is easy. Trading is harder because you actually have to execute. You know what I mean? So it's not about trusting the edge per se, right? By itself, it's all of the potential chaos that's going in your mind. You're hesitant to take this trade because you've been on a 2 or 3 losing streak because you took some dumbass shit, right? So when a real opportunity came up, you're like, oh, I'm like a deer in headlights. I don't know what to do. Stop doing dumb shit. Look for the good opportunities and stop taking the dumb shit. That's why you feel, and you can drop some 2s in the chat if that's how you feel sometimes. Man, I can go into demo and I can smack it, but when I go into a combine or I go live, I get smacked. Why is it that I take the good trades, you know, and I miss out on the good ones, right? Or like in the live setting. Like in the live setting, I always take the bad trades and miss out on the good ones. Y'all ever felt like that? Drop some 2s in the chat. You're like, yo, what the fuck? My demo account is nasty, but my live account's like, oh, what the fuck? Eminem, I did talk about fear of missing out a little bit earlier, so I'm not gonna go over that again. To move on to other questions, we're gonna cut that there. But basically, it's not just trusting your edge. I trust my edge. I trust market maker models. I trust runs on liquidity. I trust the fuck out of that. That's why I tell you guys before it happens. I try to, not every day or all the time, but at least once or twice a week, I'm able to tell you where it's going to go before it goes there. That's how confident I am to trade them, to tell you about them, you know, get funded with them. Like, you know, that's how I do that. But again, if we were to sum it up, a good analyst doesn't always make a good trader. You know what I mean? So it's more than that. Trading in the zone is fresh in my mind, is what you meant to say, Willow, in my chat. I only have a few chapters left at this point. I know it's really just a decision to be patient, to be disciplined, and to follow my rules. It's just a decision. Well, here's the thing. I have all the respect in the world for Mark Douglas and Paula Webb. I was just on the phone with her last week for over an hour. We were talking again. That was the second time I ever spoke to her, right? And I respect Mark Douglas probably more than anyone else ever in the trading industry, ever. Okay. He's like the number one GOAT, in my opinion, just because, you know, he was such a servant leader in the hell, him and his wife founded the trading psychology space. Like the trading psychology space, they fucking created that, you know? So I absolutely respect them. The only, and this, again, this is just my opinion. The only thing I would say about Mark Douglas and Paula Webb is the way they view the market and how it moves differs from how I view it. They view it as a collective. Oh, there's hundreds of thousands of traders. You know, this was written like 40 years ago, but it's like, oh, there's traders all over the world that are contributing to the movement of price. I don't agree with that. You guys already know that. You know, I'm a fan of the markets are booked. The markets are designed and coded to do certain things, right? So I overlook that part of what they talk about. But the psychology side of things, they kick anyone's ass big time. And a lot of their stuff is very stoic too. For example, you can't change the market, but you can change yourself. You know, that's very stoic, because the Stoics were the same way. You can't change the things around you, but you can change how you view them. You can change how you respond to them, you know? So their idea of how price moves is, in my opinion, it's wrong. But now that you know how markets operate, how they book, like liquidity to liquidity, you know, order flow opportunities in between, even like time-based stuff that we talk about, having that is just even better than having, you know, some MA crossover dog shit. But if they were able to help traders, you know, with other like dog shit strategies, then they sure as fuck will help you in the smart money side, you know? Because the idea is they're not just timeless, but they transfer over to any strategy. It doesn't matter. The psychology should be the same no matter what. Series of trades perspective, probabilities, not absolutes, right? You can't change the market, but you can change yourself. That translates over into all of it. It's just the smart money side, right? Our side, the right side, okay? In my opinion. It's easier for us because reading The Disciplined Trader now, a lot of the answers to the questions or to the ideas that are proposed in the book can be answered with the things that I've taught you. I'll give you an example. I won't leave you fucking hanging, right? Mark talks about how the market does not care about you, what you want, or what you need, right? The market doesn't even know who you are. The market doesn't know who I am either, okay? You have to decide what you think is enough, right? That's what a lot of people think. You know, oh, I want a bigger move because I have a mortgage payment, so I need a little bit more in this move, versus the idea that Mark proposes by saying you should look at the market and allow the market to tell you what enough is, right? So that was kind of my first question. Like, okay, that makes sense. I have to let the market tell me how much is enough. How much is enough? What is the answer? In the viewpoint of looking at a market maker buy model, okay, by itself, let me delete everything here. All right. A market maker by itself, enough is the equal highs or the low resistant highs, either at that price or maybe one or two ticks above it. By definition, the equal highs or the low resistant highs, that exact price level or one or two ticks above it, is enough. Now, me, of course, I am not a perfectionist, but I do lean that way a lot in the trading side. I have always like in the beginning, at least, I was always like, that's not enough for me though. Like, I need a little bit more. How can I understand how far price is going to go above it or below it? And that's why over the years I kept saying to you guys over and over again, where's the next imbalance? Where's the next gap or whatever? Right? And that's here, like I told you earlier. So I would not want this. I wouldn't want the highs. I would want the gap. That to me is enough. So already off the rip, you understand what enough is. Enough is finding an entry, right? Whether it be near the lows, whether it be in a discount, hell, even in a premium. What is enough? Either number one, the equal highs or low resistance highs, or number two, the next imbalance or the next gap that's above it. So theoretically, right, because obviously this would not work 100% of the time for everybody moving forward, but the in theory, it should no longer be, well, this is only $475. I want to make sure I get $500. No, that's wrong. That's wrong, because you're looking at the monetary value of the move and not allowing the market to tell you what enough is. That's your fucking problem. Does that make sense? Let me ask you this, chat. I know, because I'm a little bit kind of like, I don't have the live chat. I have it a couple minutes behind because I'm higher. I want to get through the rest of the stuff. But drop some threes if that's happened to you. This is the situation. You saw price run above equal highs or low resistant highs. You did not take partials, or maybe you did. Either way, but you held on because you thought it was going to continue running. And then it reversed on you. Drop some, what do we do? Threes? Three. Drop some threes in the chat if that's ever happened to you. You had an opportunity, you got the equal highs or maybe a little bit above it, and then the market reversed on you. And now you ain't walk away with shit. You had it, and then you lost it. How many times has that ever happened? I have now forgotten where I was at in the chat, moving all this shit around. Shit. I think I'm way up here, actually. Okay, so a lot of you threw threes into the chat. Right. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I'd put money on the fact that you were looking at the monetary value of the trade and not from the market. You were not looking at the market. I mean, you looked at the market. You were like, okay, yeah, we're at the highs. And then you looked at the P&L and went, no, I need more. I need more. That's not enough. Mason, Harmon. Yeah, you FAFO'd. You FAFO'd in. Yeah. You got greedy. And instead of taking what you could get, what'd you end up with? Either a lot less profit or a break even. And now you probably felt retarded. You probably felt, oh my God, I got the entry. Maybe even sat through drawdown to finally get what you wanted, didn't take it, and now you're break even. And now you're sitting there pouting because you're like, I did all this work. I spent all this mental capital. I took on risk. I sat through drawdown. I did all this shit just to break even. And you probably got frustrated. And my guess, again, if I had to continue, if we're betting here, if I have an open tab with you, I would even put money on the fact that you probably blamed the market too. Or blamed anything else but yourself. Oh man, I had to go to work. I had to watch John's stream. I had to, do whatever. And you thought of any excuse except taking responsibility for your own actions. That's a new high, Dave. Interesting. Libra, I guess you were right. I was right in the short term, and you were right in the long term. That's what it's about, my friend. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 formation into the discount end of the gap. Last imbalance, which is the inversion model right there. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's not the imbalance model. That's my Judas model. Judas model live, baby. Look at that shit. That's pretty cool. Now, mind you, again, I don't even know what the target would have been. The Judas model does require a target. I'm not sure what the target would have been. Maybe up here, I guess. But that's exactly what I taught you in that video. 1, 2, 3 formation low, last imbalance. Look at that. Gave you that model for fucking free. I gave you that for free, dude. Yeah. Who's the greatest MLM educator of all time? I don't know. Don't say it. Keep the answer to yourself, baby. Keep the answer to yourself. All right. But anyway, let me go over just a couple more since we're here. We might have to save some for tomorrow. If you buy in a mitigation, where will you place your stop loss? Either below the mitigation, below the breakaway imbalance, or all the way at the low. Or at the low of the previous stage of whatever stage you're trading. So if you're trading the second stage, your stop would go to the first stage accumulation's low. Or if you're trading the first stage accumulation, your stop loss would go to the low risk buy low or the manipulation low. Eminem, you're welcome. Let me see. Willow says, I was 100% scared to take an L to start the week because I took an L Friday, missed out because I was a little bitch. That's what I'm saying, bro. And look, again, I know all this stuff because I've gone through it too. And sometimes I still do. Sometimes I literally said that earlier today where I'll call out trades. That doesn't mean I take every trade. You know what I mean? I've always been very open about that. I don't take every single fucking trade, okay? I don't do that. I look for the best ones and I'll take those. Or I'll try to take those at least. All right? Most of the time, says Zakjo, I lack the discipline to really sit down and look at the charts, even without the intention to trade. Big problems for me. So I'll tell you this. Dude, chat, we could be here for fucking forever. Okay? This stream could go on all day long. Because there's just so much to talk about. There's so much depth in understanding about all this shit. The best trades, okay? The best trades, the best opportunities, for me at least, I can't say anything about anybody else, but for me, the best opportunities come from when I'm not looking for a trade. If I wake up and 9 times out of 10, I have the intention to not even take a trade. Think about this, Zach Joe, and a lot of the members in here. Think about this. How many times have you heard me? This is where some of you, you're going to smile from ear to ear now because you know I'm not bullshitting you. How many times have you heard me say on stream, oh, I'm not going to trade today, and then I'll show you a trade later in the afternoon? Drop some 4s in the chat. If you're like, oh yeah, John, Jesus Christ. You've done that so many times. You're always doing that shit. John, you always tell us you're not going to take a trade, and then you show us a banger trade later on. Like, what the fuck is that? Drop some 4s if you've ever seen me do that. It might have been a while since I've done it. But usually I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to trade. And then boom, you see me snipe it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have the intention to trade. So my full, I guess, objectivity, I'm not in a trade. So the market is only presenting information. If it goes up, I don't give a fuck. If it goes down, still don't care. Because I'm not in a trade, so nothing, it doesn't matter to me. It's just information. That's all the market ever is. The market to you might be bullish or bearish, but the market always is just information. What's the price? 56.28.5. That's what it is right now. Some people might be bearish. Some people might be bullish. Then you got people like me who really don't give a fuck because we're not in a trade. And when you don't care, when you have no objectivity or clouded judgment because you're in a trade, then you can really, really find opportunity. Does that make sense? Because you're not in a trade, because you're not wanting something, you don't have a bias. You've heard me say that too, right? You guys keep asking me about silver. John, what do you think about gold? What do you think about silver? And what do I always tell you? Well, I have physical silver, so I'm a little bit biased because I'd like to see it go higher, right? If I'm lying, there's 50 of you on here that could easily be like, John, you're full of dog shit, bro. You're full of shit. How many times have I done that? I have silver. I'm a little bit biased because I want it to go higher because that benefits me. I'd rather not see it go lower, because that is the automatic bias that I have, because it benefits me if it goes higher, and it would technically hurt if it went lower. So when you're not in a trade, you're way more objective. Just try it. For the rest of this week, okay, which is the first week of April, basically. Tomorrow's April Fool's Day, so don't act like a fool, all right? For the rest of this week, why don't you just give that a try? Just log out. Log out of your funded account, log out of your combine, log out of your challenge, log out of your live trading. Don't even go into paper and just watch it. Just sideline. Tell coach, take me out the game. Take me out the game, coach. I need the bets. I need some Gatorade. You know what I mean? I need some Gatorade, coach, and a foot rub. And just sit on the sidelines. And then you tell me on Friday if it was easier for you to spot trading opportunities or if it was harder. Just do it. Just do it for a week. Just do it for the next 4 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Don't place any live trades at all. Just go in with that. I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to trade. And you tell me how much easier or how much more difficult it would be this week, whether you found trades easier or whether you couldn't find trades easier. Let's experiment. I really want to have that experiment with you guys, because I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Like sometimes the night before, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sleeping in tomorrow. You know what I mean? But let's just try that this week. That'll be our exercise. Liebert said, I'm gonna write a book, How to Master Break Even 101. That's diabolical. That's insane. Someone mentioned that the reason might not be trusting your edge. Currently working on that one, so we shall see. Gathering data and improving my results. Also the word reason. We think that our reasoning was right, but I do not fully grasp that yet. So there's pretty much only one thing that, there's a lot of things that Mark has to say about reasoning. Reasonings don't matter. The only entity that has a reasoning that should be paid attention to is commercial hedgers. I don't trade agriculture. I doubt you trade agriculture, corn, wheat, soybeans, you know, shit like that. You probably don't trade that. I don't. But if we were, we would pay attention to the commercial hedgers because they're the ones that have a strong inclination on where price is going. So if they increase shorts to hedge, you know, that means something. But for us, reasoning is irrelevant. I need to buy a car. I need to buy a house. I need to pass a combine. I need to, I don't know, go to Crumble Cookies. I need money for this. I need money for that. Whatever. Reasons are irrelevant. If anything, reasoning is actually a part of context. Why does the market go lower below this low and below the 13th low? It went lower. Why? Because there's stops. Anyone who's trying to buy, you know, a low that's been set, they're going to get stopped out. Why should the market trade up here? Because there's resting liquidity from whoever's been short. So the market is going to seek liquidity to get traders out. The market's going to usually retrace into specific price levels to allow smart money to get out of their positions that would otherwise be underwater during this price run, to get out. So that way they don't get hurt when the run insinuates. So that opposing run on liquidity is what we view in the smart money community as a trading opportunity to long. That's about the extent of the reasoning that actually matters in trading. The market doesn't care. You got a mortgage payment, nobody gives a fuck. All honesty, okay? Nobody cares. I trade for this, I trade for that. Doesn't matter. We're all here at the end of the day to make money. Either to make money or to hedge. You're probably not a hedger. You're probably a speculator. So if we're going to speculate, then we need to make sure that we know what we're doing. Again, G and to everybody else that's on here, there's still about 50 of you on here. And I know we're kind of going overboard a little bit. Because a Friday was an hour and a half. We're pretty much getting to an hour and a half here today as well. And you can see why. This stuff gets really in depth. There's a lot of stuff to cover. I can't cover everything in depth in one stream. It's just not possible. But these ideas might seem irrational at first, but you have to sit with them. That's what I opened up the fucking stream with. I'm reading the same book that I read 4 or 5 years ago, but it's a different book to me because I'm a different person than I was. I'm a different trader. I have a different mindset. I have more experience. I have way more depth than I did 4 years ago. When I was 25, 26, now that I'm 31, it's the same exact book, but I view it in an entirely different light. Even though the ideas never changed. And that's like my point. When I give you guys, I guess, information and ideas, right? I covered that last week. Willow had told me, oh yeah, John, you know, I still view videos from 2023 and 2024. Right. Because all that stuff that I talked about from 2023, 2024, and even prior, right? Rest in peace, Channel 96. All that stuff, it still works. Because I only teach you things that I believe stand the test of time. Why else would this work? I literally gave you this on Friday. Just as a quick and easy example, I gave you buying at 50%, aiming for equal highs in a market maker buy model. If your stop goes to 25%, which again, I said is a little, probably not the greatest, but if you're aiming for, that's still a 1 to 2. Again, that was Friday. That was days ago. But yet you see that same phenomenon happen here, right? The ideas still work. But again, just to wrap this up, reasoning, it does not matter. The market doesn't care. Whether you're on futures, whether you're on CFDs, whether you're in options, it doesn't matter. We're all speculators at the end of the day. JORX, JORX. I don't know what your name is. No, I'm not currently part of any trading or network marketing company. Not at the moment. And yeah, G, like I said earlier, it's not about being right. It's about making money. Yeah, there is no connection between your reason and what the markets actually do. So I don't know, kind of messy, right? He's having a full port tomorrow. Yeah, you're blocked. You're blocked, banned, and good luck to you. But yeah, look, man. At the end of the day, we are indoctrinated into this world with the absolute worst habits, the absolute worst ideas, the absolute worst education that there is. Now, when you're learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s, I'm not talking about that. That's obviously important. You need to know how to communicate, sure. And I can't put my exact, I guess, thumb on it, but it's somewhere right around middle school where everything just goes to shit. And now it's not about your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s and writing like a 1-page paper, Now it's about like irrelevant shit. Y mx equals b squared or some shit. Y equals mx b, yeah, some shit like that, right? Pythagorean theorem, prove that it's a triangle. Bitch, look at it. You know what I mean? What are the degrees of the angles and shit? What the fuck are we focused on, bro? You don't learn taxes. You don't learn running a business. You don't learn marketing. You don't learn relationships. You don't learn leadership. You don't learn anything. You don't learn philosophy. In middle school and high school, right? When you get in trouble, they put you in a box. I don't know about like my school did. I don't know about yours, but they put you in a box. Like it's like a small room with no windows and like cubicle kind of thing. They're cubicles and it's fucking horrendous, right? That takes away all creativity. You're not supposed to talk. You can't have your cell phone. You can't do none of that shit. It just completely suppresses all of your creativity. So many rules that you're confined to. You have absolutely no freedom whatsoever. And that's why, look, I hate saying shit like this, but that's why I bought a fucking coupe, bro. I can take my roof off. I don't give a fuck. I don't like roofs. I don't like ceilings. I like freedom. If I want to take the goddamn top off, I'm fucking taking it off, right? Because I do not like being boxed in. I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to do what I want to do. And as arrogant, as egotistical as that sounds, I want freedom. That's what humans were meant for. We were not meant to be put in a box or a cubicle, like if you work in an office. That's not what the fuck you were meant for, right? And so as traders, even as people, we have to push past all of that. When you get into trading, it's the same shit. You get indoctrinated with what? The indicators, the EMAs, the Bollinger Bands, the RSI or whatever, MACD. You get introduced to the shapes and stuff. Oh yeah, that's a, you know, remember that last week on Dow? Oh yeah, that's a bull flag. Yeah, you should buy that. And look what happened. Oh yeah, bull flag, and then it ripped ass. You quite literally, this is my opinion, and this is pretty much what my next book is about, in a way. You get indoctrinated with so much bad information, and you create bad habits for yourself. That's why when you get into trading, you have everything that's working against you. Your friends and your family, yeah, good luck if they support you. If they do support you, you're a lucky son of a bitch, because most don't. And then on top of that, you got to get through like the indicators and all that stuff. If you got indoctrinated with smart money concepts, then you better pray that, you know, that it wouldn't be any other way, because that's the best way in my opinion. But be grateful, okay? You have to push past your own bad habits, your own self-limiting beliefs, like we talked about earlier, your own habits when it comes to money management. You know, we do everything wrong in the beginning. And this is why it's so hard to overcome all those things. I know I'm losing viewers at this point, but these are the conversations that really change people and traders for the better. You know, and when you start missing out, like, don't come to me when you have the same question that I've already answered on stream. You know what I mean? So again, just to wrap everything up today, I want to wrap this up. The market doesn't care about you, what you want, or what you need. The market doesn't even know about you. The market, in its most simplest, I guess, fundamental form, it's just information. Information is neutral. It's you who places a value judgment on that. It's bullish, it's bearish, it's consolidation, it's bullshit, it's low probability conditions, right? That I continue to stunt in, okay? That's all you. You cannot change the market, but you can change yourself. You can change your perception. You can change your, I guess, judgments, but you can change the actions that you take. Okay? You have to take a hard look at the mirror, or in the mirror, and look at what your flaws are. Figure out why you have them, and then work to fix those things. Okay? So look, if I did not get to your question today, you can have it ready for tomorrow. Okay? I can't go over everything, but hopefully you guys got some value out of that, out of our stream today. Drop a like. I would greatly appreciate that. One more thing on the way out, drop some gems. Just drop some gems if you got some value today. If you got value, drop some gems. But that's so moving forward, that is our exercise for the week. Go into every single day with the expectation that you're not going to trade. Just go in the rest of this week. Tell yourself, I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to trade. I'm just going to watch. I'm going to look for opportunities. And your study is to see, do the opportunities pop out easier to you, or is it harder for you to spot? Because I'm willing to bet by telling yourself you're not going to trade, you're going to find setups way easier. By taking the pressure off, you free yourself up to pay attention. That's our goal. That is our exercise for this week. Okay? So be good, be blessed. I will see you guys tomorrow on Tuesday, April 1st. Q1 is basically done. Okay? It's basically done. And very last thing, of course, I already shared on social media, but I am rereading The Disciplined Trader. I will, in all likelihood, finish that within the next 3 to 5 days, 5 being at the most. And then right after that, I'm rolling into Trading in the Zone again as well. Okay. Disciplined trader was first. Trading in the zone came afterwards. So I'm reading it in the order. Excuse me. I'm rereading it in the order that it was produced. Okay. So see you guys tomorrow. Here, check out this exit song I have for you.
With a fire in my chest, bitch, I'm on my ones, but they ain't gon' test. I stay cut by the wires of the nest, tryna find my wings in a bulletproof vest. I'm laid off and I'm fine till I find myself in the middle of the same old mess. I stress everybody dead. Who the fuck is next? Get set, pussy play. Who the fuck wants that? Okay, hey, change, bumping that and pussy play for the no place. Bitch, I'm reading with the play. Running through the dark like a page. If you play, blood, put him in his place. Oh, they ain't safe. Never got time today. The sideline when these rappers on his head to say if I try, motherfucker better hide the face to find a race. These pussies don't lie, but they just like hitting my phone like you ever gave a fuck what a kid been through when I jump through hoops just to make it where a motherfucker is. But it is what it is, pussy ain't neutral, no clue. All that I lost to that sacrifice, I don't run close to the truth. Brick by the brick, bitch, I'm putting together a paradise where they can stay in the tooth.
I am free. Every single thing that I've done, I decided to do. My actions are governed by nothing but my own free will. Do you want to know what I hate more than anything else in this world? Anyone who isn't free. They're no better than cattle. In other words, slaves. Yes, what I'm saying is, the mere sight of you has always made me so damn angry. Now I finally know why. I just couldn't stand to look at a slave with no mind of her own.
What you fuck? What you like? Or just lay? Shut it tight. Get the fuck